Oh, we're live. Hey, everybody. Oh, God. Anyway, we're here. I hope you're here. Welcome to the Grizzly Gaming stream with the craziest lighting in the world today. We're still figuring out our new system. This is our second stream. My children are right in there. I'm hoping they don't wake up. If they do, it's definitely Skydog's fault. Anyway, oh my God. One of my children is refusing one of my child's kiddos is refusing to sleep because she's sick. The little turd. Ooh, I'll show you what time.
That's how they got that lamp in here. They made a hole in the table to stuck it in.
That it will not be taken out of context. I
Can
will
we do that
not.
to a dining room table? Just put a lamp right in the middle.
You can stop sexually harassing the furniture now. If it works, sure. Right from the middle of the table. Wife, stop looking longingly at the hole in the table. I'm a little disturbed. Gus is a table. It's a whole new meaning. I know. We're streaming on the wrong day. Today is supposed to be the podcast day. Which podcast is definitely going to be late. Yesterday was supposed to be the stream. But my cousins were playing marbles, and
I wanted to play.
I had too much fun.
I wanted to.
I guess we could have live streamed
I wanted
it.
to play with your cousins.
We could have tried live streaming it.
You know what? Next time,
See if they're cool with that.
See if they're okay with it.
Yeah. They have very dry
Stream it
humor. We're not like those little teenagers you hear getting all squeaky. Like, we do get excited sometimes, but it's very dry humor.
In a very mature way.
I wouldn't go that far. It's just
Not
dry.
that-
I wouldn't call it mature. Just dry.
What I mean is,
Mm.
not talking squeaky all whatever like teenagers do. I feel like dry humor is for mature people.
Or people who can't get wet anymore because they're dry. Pervy dad joke was pervy.
Oh my god.
Woohoo! I broke my wife there for a little bit. She doesn't know how to handle it.
You can spike your drink.
Oh, yeah. That's what I do every time before stream. I just spike it. Spike it in. Oh, hey. You want to share in the Discord that we're live? You should actually use that thing. It's been weeks since we've done anything proper. I need to get back onto the groove, baby. Though I've been also having fun trying to do some game design stuff. And yep.
Jake.
Well. Oh, hi. Hi, little lady. You have a lot of blankets. You can't see it. There's a small child right here. She's very sick, very tired.
She's not that sick.
You're very sick.
She's
She's very tired.
She was.
She wants someone to put her to sleep. Yeah? Yeah, you're a little girl in a big man's world. Oh my goodness. Okay, happy noises. Well, no, yeah.
So tired.
Yeah, here we go. Don't mind the stacked pans. Those are camouflage. Anyway, we should probably get into our topic. I was hoping Skydog would show up, that punk. He is on Discord. He must be actually playing video games right now.
He's probably
Shameful.
playing Star Citizen.
I'm jealous. I still haven't gotten it working on my computer again. Irritating. I'm going to do it.
Sorry.
I'm going to get to it.
Oops.
Even though I don't really like this tier 0
You're
implementation
gonna go on the
of
other side. 'Cause I just rocked you right into the camera.
camera rock. Oh, there's a butt in my face. Hello. So
Be happy.
we haven't done a Star Citizen straight up stream for a while. I think we talked about it briefly in the last one. This though has an overarching theme I want to talk about, and it's how to keep. Man, streaming. Just shut up. It's kind of a high-minded thing, but like with the SSH, the social sexual hierarchy, is going through something right now that all things that get popular go through. And that is what what Gamergate guys used to call back in the day normies, normal people, which is really these days more code for the general masses. I think I woke up one of my children. Oh, Skydog! I'm here to judge your lag. Is it that bad? Lord have mercy. I swear the internet is better here. Sometimes. You can tell the boomer snow. I need to record my wife sometimes. That would be like a great, like, you like speed that up, play it backwards. It's a great monster noise. Ted. Still judging. Well, you understand me enough to judge, so it must be at least okay. Thank goodness. Yeah, as soon as the snowbirds leave, I suspect the internet will speed up a little bit. Because occasionally, like back where we were, it was always bad. Always. But occasionally I get good internet. It happens. I see green bars on a blue moon on a Saturday. But not this Saturday. Yeah, and also my children have a funny habit of knocking the antennas around, and I swear it screws with it. Ooh. But I'm gonna get into the shifted. It is shifted, but I have no idea if it's better in its current direction or if I should move it.
Because child number 2 kept climbing up and messing with it.
Child number 4 is staring at me. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna Skydog. You're my witness. If it gets worse, let me know, and I will steer it back. We're gonna try moving the antenna thing.
The box thing, yeah. See if that works. And take a look at the.
And maybe.
Yes.
He's just gonna have to suck it up. Okay. I'm back. So, you may be wondering where the social sexual hierarchy is coming in with Star Citizen. No, we're not analyzing Roberts or how many gammas are on the staff or anything like that. What we're analyzing is actually something that's global, more than just video games. It's when something gets more popular and you get the general populace starts coming in, you always get, shall we say, new opinions. You think of all the guys who are trying to add to the SSH now. Inevitably, dumbing it down is the best way to put it. And changing it to make it more palatable for their opinions and their views of themselves and the world. So, for the SSH, right, that turns into something like Gamma's always trying to define themselves as Sigma, or it's not the big deal. Sigma's that, this, that, or the other thing. You know, it used to be they were always trying to be Alpha, now they're always trying to be Sigma, blah, 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 blah. There's always this, like, you could go 5 steps to go up the sexual hierarchy. Good luck. Anyway, the point I'm getting at here, it's not just the SSH. Whenever something gets popular enough, especially something that was started by a smaller, smarter group of people than the average, kind of like what the SSH did, you're always going to get the midwits coming in who want to take over the new thing and make it what they want. And, the SSH stuff, it's a lot more like trying to put their stamp on it, make it their personal thing, and change stuff so that their egos are fed and they feel better about it. With more media type things, it changes. So franchises, you don't. I'm trying to think of how it would play out in movies, and if it actually in movies, I suppose it's interesting. I haven't thought about how it would play out with movies. It's a little harder with movies in some ways. It's like you have to get 4 or 5 movies down a franchise. But with video games, it's easy to see because as something becomes more popular, there's a tendency for those games in the franchise, or even in this case, if your game is 10, 20 years in development, whatever the hell it is, to change more towards the mainstream, more towards the middle, more towards a general palpable game mechanics that the most amount of people enjoy because you have a majority influencing the game devs. So, and if you're dealing with big companies, especially if you sell out as a game developer, you're going to have this issue where if you sell it to a big publisher, maybe they have a lot more marketing, you get all these numbers, and the publisher and the bigwigs and BlackRock, not BlackRock all the time. If you're dealing with just greedy ones, not just the ones who want to stick trannies and vampire gay people everywhere, tranny vampire gay people everywhere, whatever. Trannying gay.
Why do you keep repeating those words? Stop.
I can't help it because now I'm thinking like, if you're gay and you become a tranny, do you technically become straight because the people you're interested in who presumably are a tranny as well?
Don't overthink it because that's my brother-in-law.
Yeah, I know.
It does not make
Is
sense.
it technically female, but it's trying to pretend to be male? Are you still gay?
You're still good.
You're a retard, I think is what I come down to.
You still get the millstone.
Oh no, I just said the retard word. We're never going to be shared on YouTube again. Fuck this shit. No. I gotta have fun while we're small and there's not like a whole host of people waiting to like report me. Oh, thanks. Wife, do I need to pause the stream? Excuse you, young child. You're okay. Go to sleep. This new setup. Excuse me. Gentlemen, I will be right back. Wife, entertain them. That's what we did last time and that worked well. I think it was just a little too much volume. He's fine. He's mad because I woke him up.
Is that what the cough was? Oh.
Yeah. He might be a little sick, but I don't think so. I think that was my son, the oldest, has gone, wow, my little sister gets so much attention when she's sick. I'm sick, Mom.
Give me some medicine. No.
On one hand, I'm happy for my children that their medicine tastes good now. I remember when I was a child, medicine was disgusting. Now I have a problem where this kid tries to break into the vitamins and eats them because they're little tasty gummy things.
Or feeds them to the dog.
He did feed them to the dog.
Well, like half a no. Okay, let me think. Like a third of vitamin D3 he gave to the dog of those medium-sized bottles.
Dog had a little trouble pooping properly after that. Everyone's fine, thank God.
So worried about that.
Double-edged sword. On one hand, the child will eat the medicine now. Toxicity. On the other hand, the child wants the medicine, and it could be a problem. Hey, we got a like for that.
For what? My dog suffering? Joking.
Well, you didn't mention. I forget that my dog is the main character of this stream.
Yeah.
Rosie, where are you?
She's on the couch over there.
Oh. She's staring all doll-eyed at me like, boss.
On the other end, the dog.
I haven't eaten yet. Oh, here she comes. Look out. Oh, yep. Here it is. Yep. Take a look at the camera. Okay, you're being weird and derpy. Look at the camera.
You derp.
You're a derp. Anyway.
Derp.
So, I know it sounds like I'm overanalyzing what I'm talking about, but I'm really not. Let me get back to the point before the tranny talk confused me and I woke my son up because I didn't close the window to his room. Yes, this house is funky. There's a window into their room, from the living room.
The family room.
Now, what's fun about that is there's no secrets when I'm in the living room. I can see them in their room.
Yeah, when they steal cookies and eat them. That's what happened to the rest of the oatmeal cookies.
Gone. Those were actually good oatmeal cookies too.
Oatmeal raisin.
Bryce says, on the other hand, the dog can poop. All right, she got that out. She pooped today. We're good.
She pooped today?
She did poop.
Good.
This or yesterday. It was either yesterday or today.
Last time I've been walking her, she hasn't gone at all.
She's been pooping for me.
Good.
I just realized I talked about dog poop for a while on a stream.
I mean, we talked about the kids' poop.
Yeah, it was a little different. I mean,
well, your poop's different.
I refuse to talk about my poop. Down. It's not that kind of stream. Whew.
What, a crappy one?
Now who's doing the dad jokes? Whew.
Mom joke.
Oh, that's why it's crappy. Oh, she walked into that one. Bam, bam, bam. So, right, in the classic publisher sense, if they're not owned by BlackRock, who might be just pushing their agenda or whatever thing they've been paid by China or whatever government to do, which, by the way, respect to the Chinese for finding a creative way to undermine all of their all the competition in the video game space. It's brilliant. Like, what are you doing? I liked where it was. Here, that's what we did differently. Whoa. Because I think I brought this up before. It is so brilliant. They looked at it and went, oh, these people are predisposed to making crappy games with horrible visual appeal. We can literally just encourage them to do it more by pouring more money in there. They're already putting money in there from other governments and things, and get all of our competition to destroy their franchises. Then we can just make Chinese knockoffs that are a little better than the current versions of those franchises, and bam, we make all the money. It's brilliant. Like, I can't help but be impressed by the strategy. It's darn good. I mean, if the West didn't have their heads totally up their ass, it wouldn't work at all, because all they'd have to do is make some better versions of their current franchises, and they don't. Right now, I know somebody has to be making a knockoff of Marvel Rivals with the DC universe. That's going to happen. Whether it's any good or not, that's the question.
I was thinking about that earlier.
It's definitely going to happen.
What would it be like with the canary?
Yeah.
And what would her ult be?
There'd definitely be more villains.
The screeching?
Life just caught on screen. Right. But going back to my point, remember, we might have to wait a couple of years since the Marvel's things worked out so well. It's definitely going to be in development, but you know how long these devs take to make anything these days. So a couple years down the line, oh, hey, you remember this? We'll see how it goes. But so going back to the analogy that I again distracted myself with, right? So in the video game space, when a video game becomes more popular, they sell out to a publisher. The publisher wants to make the most amount of money, so they're always going to pressure the video game developers to make their game more generic, more like the mainstream. Now, it's always more complicated with video games because that doesn't always mean the same thing, but it can. Like, on one hand, right, what was the hotness after Destiny 1 came out? Live service games. And what did all the bigwig money boys go? Ooh, all the live service. And they didn't understand what, even the pitfalls that Destiny 1 had, or why it was so popular to begin with, despite some crappy story issues. Like, I played Destiny 1. I did play Destiny 2. I understand people still play Destiny 2, which is crazy. I only know because of their soundtrack. The soundtrack was good. Destiny 1 had potential, but it was not potential. Potential. It's potential. But it was not as good. It was not what I would call, like, I think I would have given it, if I was really fair, especially in retrospect, a 7 out of 10 kind of game, which is kind of sad. You know, Bungie's big thing coming out of the get-go. But, right, they didn't understand. The bigwigs just saw money, popularity. Let's make all the games like this because we can make a lot of money and a lot of popularity. One could also argue it goes all the way back to Blizzard making more money off of a horse armor than the entirety of their...
You can't get in there.
The door is closed. The door is shut. They cannot get out. We cannot get out.
Oh, no, not my cabinet, please.
Rosie.
It's so hard to get in there.
Rosie.
Last time I just left it open a crack so that he could go in and out.
Right.
That face.
Look at that betrayed face. The cat was trying to escape the dog.
Excuse me.
Come on, man. Anyway, so and then you get to the point especially since everything's like a couple years delayed, where everything is live service because they wanted that popularity, they wanted the extra money. So everyone pushed their devs, all the publishers pushed their devs to put live service elements in their game, whether it made sense or not. Most of the time, the money bigwigs are owned by like suited boomers and Gen Xers who never really played video games anyway, which is ironic because boomers made video games and abandoned them because they're weird. And so they didn't understand, maybe you can't really make a proper live service after, a standard platformer game like Mario, right? It's a little, you could try, you could do some things, you can get creative with it, but it doesn't mesh as well as like a looter shooter does. And that's one of the big problems that came in. Like Suicide Squad comes to mind. Not only did you have all the DEI bull and all the crap and the stuff in the story and the character design, you also made it a generic third-person shooter. Like I thought, because for some reason, the Shark Man is using guns, and guns are killing characters like the Flash, who can run faster than the bullets can fire. So how is this working? How's this go? It's a wee bit of a problem. And that is an example of the devs saying, oh, this was popular here. Our numbers in the spreadsheet say this should work. We want you to put these elements in this game. Game dev people now go and make us money. Oh, also, make us money while we force you to put all this unpopular DEI stuff in at the same time. Right. But it also goes by genre. And I'm going to get to my point. I know it's meandering, but I'm having fun. It's only my second stream in my new house. It is complete chaos. Dogs are jumping. Cats are over here. Children are waking up. He went that way.
I think I just closed him at the bathroom.
It's very possible. So, in the shooter department, what is going more generic? What are all the... Because understand something. It's more than just the big wigs at the publishers that do this. It's also the player. How? Wow. When your wife kicks this at you, it hurts. Jeez.
My toes. Did that hurt you? No.
Oh, it hurt me.
Did I break it?
No, I don't think you broke it. Sorry, I'm distracted now.
That's broken. Yeah, it's plastic. It broke.
Your plastic, it broke. Hey, it already hurt once. See, it stays fine. Oh God, that's loud. It's not. They hear it in there. She takes one of their favorite toys and starts making noise with it. Like, you don't have to be cruel about that time. Come on.
Go to bed, kid, so I can play.
So, the midwits who come in, the general masses who come in, will also start affecting because they'll all start demanding new features. And in the live service environment, especially when it's done well, this happens even more hardcore. More popular game. Oh.
Where did your pinky go?
She lost another one? This is her fourth one today, I swear. It's at least been 3. She must have a stash of those things around here. Anyway, parenting concerns aside, less hair every day. The players will start demanding things they like from other video games. And because most people are stupid, yes, most people are idiots thing. It's more than that. Most people have a very short-term concept on it. So the way I always realized it when I was playing Call of Duty, and my wife can attest when I played Call of Duty back in the day, I only played a few Call of Duties. I played the Modern Warfare remake, which I actually thought was better than the original. I know all the pro guys hate that one, but that's because it had the most strategy in it, and they hated anyone who maybe wasn't as good at aiming as them, just planning out their engagement better. They hated that stuff. We're going to get into that, right? The vast majority of people who played Call of Duty, especially back in the day, wanted one god gun, their personal favorite, to own all the other guns. That was the whole point, right? That's all. That personal preference thing. They wanted theirs to be the best. And what did that turn into? That turned into assault rifles being overpowered. And if you wanted to be competitive, you had to play with an assault rifle. And they always made the assault rifles overpowered every single time. And it's funny to see videos where people are like, snipers or shotguns are overpowered. Yeah, the guns that take the most skill, because you got to get either really close or be really good at shooting from, with a limited screen and usually the slowest, reload times and all that. Those guns, those were overpowered. But the gun that was good in the short range, the long range, the mid range, all the ranges, those style of guns, those weren't broken. No, they were, and that was the point. The vast majority of people wanted one god gun to pick from, maybe some variation, and then they wanted to own with that. And that's it. They wanted a meta, and they wanted to play the meta, and they wanted the meta to be their preference. That's it. That's all it was. This is just, and I'm not actually insulting those people, because, I'm a little bit. I got annoyed at these assault rifle bros who don't want any variety. Yeah. And it puts the developers of Call of Duty, for example, in a really rough place, because the vast majority of players just want to pick one gun and use that gun and beat everybody with it. They want one gun to be the best. They want it to be their gun, right? The problem is they need variety. Otherwise, those very same people will complain. Even though, right? What they really want, what they often ask for, is just basically an overpowered gun. They want their loadout meta, and that's it. They'll ask for one thing, and they'll push for that until they get it, and they'll stop playing if they don't get it. Right, but Call of Duty wanted the vast amount of appeal, and they wanted people like me who want to do something crazy like, I don't know, use a light machine gun. Shocking. Light machine guns. I love those things, and very few games do them justice. See, my daughter is crying in pain for all the light machine gun enjoyers like me. So, which is also equally funny in Star Citizen, where the light machine guns are a little overpowered. I'm like, wow, a game where light machine guns are a little overpowered? Shock. My wife is not shaking her butt for me. What are you talking about? Oh, no. But what this also turns in, so that's like a microcosm of Call of Duty, an issue they have. If they're balancing of their guns, they often have to make the assault rifles more powerful, so it has the most appeal. But if they do too much of that, they'll lose the periphery people that they're also trying to grab, who want to play in different ways. They don't just want one type of way to play. And of course, you have this issue between games as well. You remember when Halo, I remember this, right? After Reach, there became this point where Halo started to become more like Call of Duty. Now, some of that was because Bungie moved on to Destiny. What are you doing to me?
Nothing.
Bungie moved on to Destiny, right? And Destiny was very Halo-like, but they meant, the gameplay of Destiny, right? The mechanics itself, like, we're not talking, not the repetitive missions, but the way your character felt and acted and shot was perfect. It was great. It made for a great PvP experience too. Like I PvP'd in that game a lot. It was a lot of fun. Now, of course, to get the best stuff, you had to do your PvE stuff, and some of those missions were pretty interesting. If you never did it, there was the one thing where they introduced the Hive was my favorite introduction of a villains ever, because you're up until this point, there's like some mystical, magical stuff. They're kind of dark, but they're technological, and then you walk into like a flood situation, but not flood biological, like they're straight up like weird possessed doll things running at you. And there's a lot of them. And it goes from this shift from like light dystopia, but very light, to dark, gritty, weird alien dystopia underground on the moon. It was a great shift. I know a lot of people were like, positive talk about Destiny. Oh, well, no offense, guys. Like McDonald's, it was really popular. So I know a lot of you guys played it, even though you pretended you didn't. So Sorry. Somebody's eating those burgers, if you know what I mean. So some of you definitely played Destiny 1. You just don't want to admit it. Sad. And again, going back to our analogy, Halo's, when it got taken over by new publishers and new devs who didn't understand what made Halo Halo, instantly started to make the formula more like Call of Duty because the publishers wanted Halo to eclipse Call of Duty. Right? They wanted it more popular, like one of the most popular franchises ever. It's never enough. They had to make more money. They had to eclipse Call of Duty. Ooh. And so they were taking elements from Call of Duty and throwing it in. Some of it was okay. Like I remember they added fun animations at the end of certain matches. Thanks, Cat. Like bombers coming in and blowing stuff up. That wasn't so It's what happens when you don't feed your cat before you stream. He just starts searching for stuff. Wife is suddenly concerned. There's nothing over there. Should be fine.
No glass.
He has broken glasses like that before. We're a little nervous.
From
This is now high stakes.
our honeymoon.
Anyway, they continued down that route and then added DEI elements to the point where in
Go to bed.
Halo was it? Was it Halo 5? Yeah, I think it was Halo 5. Mao Zedong. Now they're going to make little cat images of
What are you doing to
Korean
me, kid?
dictators. But, right, they, distracted me. I was in
My
a...
daughter's opening my jacket and closing it again.
Oh, hello. Bye. Hello. Bye. Right, in Halo 5, they didn't understand, right, that they kind of jumped the shark with this. Both because the DEI agenda came in and tried to take over to the point where they literally tried to replace Master Chief with a black guy. That was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. One of the first DEI attempts was to replace the Master Chief, a guy you never see, but you know vaguely is white, with a black dude who would always have his helmet off all the time, so you'd know he was black. Hilarious. What do you... Right? But because they were trying to push it into the mainstream, gather as many people as possible, right? And not maybe niche it out just a little bit, maybe do what's best for the game, so it's an actual game. The DEI stuff basically cut it off at the ankles, to the point where when they tried to bring Infinite in, they did it again. Now, some elements might have worked, like an open world Halo game has potential, okay? And I actually think they should have been trying experiments with that with Halo 4, but with a different character, like not Master Chief, just a side game in the universe, kind of like with the Halo game about the drop marines. Forget what it is. You know that Halo game. It's between 3 and 2, whatever.
3, 2, 1.
It's one of the more beloved games, but Master Chief isn't even in it. And that would have been a great way to also like test out the new team and their ideas to see if people liked it with a side Halo game. Huh? It's a big universe. You could do more characters in it and not touch the main lore too much and not piss off all the original fans. But instead, right, a little bit of ego, a little bit Microsoft wanting a new Halo game to start stamping Halo 360s? Halo...
What are you doing?
Halo whatever Xbox was new that year, right? You knew they wanted to stamp more. It was probably Xbox One. They wanted a new Halo for that. Annoying. Right. So, but the problem was, if you remember also when Halo Infinite came out, all of the big games were becoming open world adventures with girl bosses who are getting chubbier every single year. With vague
size inflation.
And not in the upper section, if you know what I mean. Very much in the cheek and not the fun cheek section, if you know what I mean. And what I mean saying, less eye candy, right? And so Halo Infinite was definitely just following the times and going, okay, people like open worlds right now. Let's slap an open world game in it, and let's take out all the cool Marines and throw this Mexican in there who no one cares about, and all the women involved with, well, you know, if we're gonna make a Halo game, we gotta touch on Master Chief's emotions, which, funny enough, isn't a
So
bad
bring on
idea.
the land whales.
Which I might anger some people with this, but that's not a bad idea, getting into Master Chief's emotions. But they fumbled it because they're women and they don't understand male emotion. They were actually hinting at something interesting. There was this fun little line in there where Master Chief is like saving the world and is going into it, and the guy's like, "What are you even fighting for at this point?" And he goes, "This is all I know." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. You're all you know because you are." I'm getting more meows because you've literally were kidnapped from your parents, turned into a super soldier, and thrown out there to save the world for your entire existence. It would be an actually interesting
Muppet.
emotional angle for them to explore what Master Chief does now that the world doesn't need to be saved. Oh wait, we made the world have to be saved. Right? What should have happened and what they were hinting at what they were going to do in Halo 5 was explore the fact that the UNSC and the humans are all this crap everywhere was a dystopia. The Spartans in the lore were not made to fight aliens. They were made to suppress humanity because all of the worlds, all of those side worlds were in rebellion. They were wanting to break from the super UN. And then, if you really get conspiratorial in the lore, the UNSC, the people who own like the super UN that like governs all the Earth planets, found the Covenant and purposely created a scenario where the Covenant would attack them, severely underestimating the power of the Covenant and getting their asses kicked and going, "Oh no, we have made a mistake. We're going to die." Does that sound familiar? Like in Ukraine, certain European powers? What? No, it's just a coincidence. That would have been an interesting game.
What's that?
Master Chief taking a break from saving the universe and turning reflectively and going, "Are my parents even still alive?" Wouldn't that be an interesting game? Like Master Chief takes a moment, he comes back from cryo sleep, he looks at the time and the date and realizes, there's no big war to fight. It's all dirty wars. Do Spartans get to have interns? What does retirement look like? And go off and goes on an adventure to find his parents, and it turns into this crazy conspiracy rung fun thing where you're fighting Marines and super soldiers from Earth as much as you're fighting aliens, because they don't want you uncovering all the crap they did. Right? They don't want you uncovering the fact that Spartans were there to suppress humanity, not there to save humanity. They don't want all that uncovered, so they're sending people in to stop you and you'd have this whole thing where they're trying to slander his name because he's the savior of humanity, and now he's gone rogue, he's evil, he's gone crazy. The Spartan stuff drives you crazy.
You're jealous.
Okay.
This is how I hold my daughter, and you're jealous.
All right. I really need to get to the point because I'm going all over the place. I got sidetracked in Halo lore, which is actually really fun and full of conspiracy stuff. She is a chicken. Can I have your chicken? Okay, back to you.
Can I hold my daughter?
You got the chicken. All right, so
No, you're gonna go down.
I've established that in shooters, there's a tendency to go towards the generic push, whether that's going to live service stuff like following the Destiny crowd, or going more Call of Duty like Halo did back in the day. Because not only do you have your publishers trying to push for more money, there is this reality that the vast majority of players who play any given genre all like their games to play in a certain way, right? Arma Reforger, Arma is a really popular game, but it's also very niche. You're not going to get a huge market share. You're going to get a nice sized market share that a lot of guys enjoy, and you're going to make some money off it, but you're not going to get your Call of Duty crowd. You're not going to get the average guy who just wants to hop in and shoot some things for a while and go to sleep afterwards, right? It's an involved thing. It takes a while. You're usually going to need a lot of friends to make it work too, and all that sort of stuff. It's not the kind of thing that you just flip on and start shooting, right? And I'm not degenerating arena shooters. Like I say, I play Marvel Rivals all the time. But you have to see if Arma were to try to take the crown for Call of Duty, right? That would destroy Arma, because they're never going to go as good as an arena shooter would, right? And they're just going to ruin the elements that made the core base enjoy their game. So it's a lot less likely with a game like Arma that the devs would ever be pushed to go down that route, right? Because their whole thing is military realism and all that. So you may be wondering, 40 minutes in, what does this have to do with Star Citizen in the title? And my answer is, we're having a little bit of a crisis in Star Citizen. It's become popular enough now that we're having the influence of the mid-witted, mid-range average gamer who sees the flashy spaceships, sees the flashy stuff, sees the epic goals in mind, and sees stuff they like, and are joining up now. But they find this tedium of having to put on armor, do this, do that, fly here, die, have to refly back, and all this other stuff. It's tedious and getting in the way of the action, getting in the way of the story, blah, 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 right? And the problem is a lot of these people don't understand why Star Citizen dragged them in the first place. And that's an issue, because most people don't actually understand why they like things. It's especially funny if you try to make a woman explain why she likes a certain franchise or something.
I thought that out.
Yeah, it's this. Usually, it's kind of like, well, I like it.
Why?
Why? What's the
anything that's,
elements? You should do this yourself. Think of one of your favorite franchises and actually break down the elements that you enjoyed in it. Like if you were going to make another
what
one,
stood out to you and why?
If you were going to make
How is
another,
it different from everything else?
Right.
Simple things.
So, and the biggest issue with this is, right, if these people have too much of their way, they make the game.
Another reason why women should be in HR.
Right. They make the game too generic, then it's going to be like all the other games.
Mm-hmm.
And in Star Citizen's case, that's a death knell, because Star Citizen, I don't mean to burst anyone's bubble, but Star Citizen is always going to be a buggy mess. Not like unplayable buggy. They can get it to the little girl. They can get it to the point where it's playable and fun, but it's always going to have big bugs, because big games always have bugs, because there's just too many variables. So you can have an army of devs, even like CIG has, even like Microsoft and other ones have, and you're never going to get them all, because there's just too many variables, too many different scenarios and crazy scenarios and ridiculous situations that can happen in a big game like this. This is why Skyrim bugs were legendary, because Skyrim was such a freaking big game that there were so many things that could happen and could go wrong that it generally would go wrong. And we could argue Bathsheba wasn't the best at squashing their bugs. We can all agree to that. But you get the point. Even one that was good at it would never be able to get the most of them. And there's no game bigger than Star Citizen in this regard. You could say, oh, you have more planets, more galaxies, but you don't have as many game systems or complications. Oh, Carnage says, what is Star Citizen in a short example? I am a mobile player. Who are you, Carnage? But I like that you came here for this discussion. You can understand, like, if, man, I don't play a lot of MOBAs. But let's say, I should explain what Star Citizen is. The concept's easy enough, right? Like, if a MOBA tries to take the crown from League of Legends, right, maybe they have some unique aspects that are different than other MOBAs, and then they start getting more market share, and the players start pushing for... It's a lot like when you take in a bunch of Mexicans, right? You're taking a bunch of Mexicans from over the border. The first thing they do is start to make your country look like their country, because it's what they're comfortable in. But you say, but they came to your country because they liked it better. Why are they making it like their old country? Because
we don't have Taco Bell.
Well, we do have Taco. Because the average person doesn't think like that. The average person feels before they think. I could explain that. I hope so. We'll get into Star Citizen. I promise. I'll explain what it is. I warn you. There's a reason why we were 40 minutes in before I got to the main topic.
These are so good at explaining.
There's a chicken hitting my computer. Oh my god. Anyway, I deserve that hardcore. Anyway, he loves it. Carnage likes me. That's what's important. So, now I suddenly want Carnage in Marvel Rivals. Stop it! Anyway, getting back into it. Right. Because most people don't actually think like this. They don't think about, oh, I like this and this and this elements, blah blah. They don't
Skydog's got
understand.
you.
Oh, thanks, Skydog. Skydog says Star Citizen is a very high fidelity space sim MMO without cutscenes. Thank you, Skydog. You know, it's interesting. I was actually listening to a video talking about game development, and we might get into it a little later of what Star Citizen is. Because if you think about it, it's a money-making simulator. That's what the core gameplay is. And then all the ways you make money are like side elements. But the whole point is right now is just make money, buy spaceships. Which I don't mind. It's just when you have... Right, the problem with that setup is, what do you do once you have all the spaceships? I guess throw money at all the noobs. That never happens. If it happens in the server, could it happen in my server? Because I don't have a lot of time to make a lot of money in Star Citizen. Or in real life, for that matter. Oh, anyway. Oh my god, a chicken. Anyway. So, bringing into our immigration example, the reason why Mexico is what it is because of a lot of underlying reasons that the people themselves just biologically go towards. They have a natural tendency to go towards, right? You only have Texas because Texans are Texan. Yeah. And if you take all the Texans out of Texas and you put them in some hoity-toity state like New York or something, they're still Texans. They're still going to want big steaks and lots of explosions. And the cops are going to get really scared because there's a lot of angry Texans everywhere. And they're very polite, but they're a little obnoxious, and they all have guns.
Can be loud.
I mean, usually I like to say if you took all the Mexicans out of Mexico and put them in Japan, and all the Japanese
will still be taller than them.
Complicated. I don't know that way. The point is with that, right? If you took a bunch of RTS players and you put them in an FPS game, they might like the FPS game, but they're not going to fully, they're going to want things to be more RTS, they're going to want more control over the NPCs around them and stuff, right? They're not necessarily going to understand the elements that make that game good. So what we're having a lot of in Star Citizen right now is you getting this big wave of people who know Star Citizens are unique, and it's an experience that they don't get anywhere else. Otherwise, why would they put up with the bugs? Hilarious enough, when I bothered one of the YouTuber guys, I won't mention names, right, about it, one of his channels, he just responded with, lol, no one plays Star Citizen right now anyway, which is a complete lie because they're making hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and we wouldn't all be having YouTube channels and talking about Star Citizen if no one was playing it. Ironic, too. The man had footage of him playing it, as he said no one played it. People are weird. The point is... there's a cat!
He's been there for a while.
I know, but suddenly there was a cat head above my camera. It was very surprising.
At least he didn't go meow.
He just peekabooed at me. Now,
silently.
Over the... he did it again. The cat's playing peekaboo with me.
You think you're going to feed me?
Who is Dan67? Lieutenant Dan... Oh, Forrest Gump, I got you. You have a kid. You don't have time for Star Citizen for the sake of your kid.
We have 4.
Yes, ironically, right? Them taking away more of the time sinks would help me out the most.
Well, what was really funny was when there were babies.
It's true.
They would fall asleep to the music. To the sound.
When they were small enough, I would put them in my arms, and I would I forget exactly how I did it.
You did it like this.
Like a little raptor. They were in my arms while I was playing, and then I put it on the big screen of the TV. Sometimes I do it like this, like the remote right here, asleep. It was hilarious. A little baby while I'm flying spaceships. That makes me feel old. I remember when Star Citizen didn't have looting, and I had to do this cheap little trick where I'd put the gun in my inventory, and then I'd go into the global inventory and put it into my global inventory. It was the only way to do it. It was this crazy thing you had to do because you could only carry 3 guns out. But it was ridiculous. I would be sitting in bunkers for an hour just putting guns into my inventory and then sticking it into my global inventory. And it was all finicky and slow, and you had to wait for the load screen to go. Yeah. So funny. But yes, I do not have as much time to play a game. But to give you guys an understanding, I'm embarrassed to say that I almost have 600 hours in Foxhole.
You don't have time
I'm
for
like-
Star Citizen, but here's Foxhole, guys. Oh, God, I'm sorry.
I didn't just spend 2 hours today trying to get to my tanks and not being able to get to them because the servers were too full. That wasn't me. No.
It was clearly me.
No. Stop. You're a child. Exactly. See, I have this curse. I like the complexity. I know why I like Star Citizen. I know I like that hardcore element, even though the bugs the bugs make it unfair. Even though it takes so long that I can never get the ships I want because I have no time to play, and the bugs ruin it, or I can't finish a mission, or something stupid happens. I still understand that the experience is there. The experience is there because of all that complexity, right? If you just put Call of Duty in space, you don't get Star Citizen. Let's see what Lieutenant Dan says.
Foxhole
As a whole.
down
As well. Where Thunder is worse. Oh God, yeah. See, I'm so crazy. I want the game where I have to like grind out the materials, refine the materials, go find the right place to build my tank, then find the ammo for my
in
tank.
a few months, we'll have the air.
They're making airplanes, baby. You know you want to get back in for that, Lieutenant Dan. Oh, they can almost compete with War Thunder's Madness. No, they can't. It's a little different. But I actually want that in Star Citizen, by the way. They really perked my interest when they're like, hey, our final end game is you get to craft your own
Pussy, you stupid Muppet.
Muppets. No, special spaceships in your own bases. I'm like, yes! I'm going to lose 600 hours of my life. I'm going to look up and my children are going to be playing with me. And I'm going to go, when did you become a teenager? And pass
your
me-
grandkids are gonna be
And pass me the refined gold, you punk. I'm already eyeballing that Perseus going, I have 1, 2, 3, just enough kids. I can arm all the guns, baby. Oh. But, now, I won't say that there couldn't be some ways to have some less time sinks, but what makes Star Citizen interesting is the unique element of the fidelity and all that, but also the heart. You all right? Okay. The hardcore elements are actually what make the game unique. They do need to smash the bugs, that it's more playable, that you don't lose stuff to bugs as much. Blah, blah, blah. And stability is supposed to be what they get. We'll see what they do. But without these hardcore elements, then it's just a generic shooter that's more buggy than most, with missions that don't often work. And who's going to play that? Right? And Skydog says, Anthony. I know he's Skydog. I love the 80s sci-fi art vibe of Star Citizen. Right. And Lieutenant Dan says, have a good night, y'all. You earned a sub. Oh, don't forget it.
Daylight savings tonight.
Oh, suck it. I'm in Arizona. We don't do that shit. You should move to Arizona so you don't have to do it either. It's so great. Now I have to figure out where you guys all live and what time you guys are.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. It'll just be
Get
whenever
on
my
it.
kids go to bed.
Sooner.
You're awesome, Lieutenant Dan. Thanks for coming and thanks for the sub. So, I just moved from Yuma to Minnesota. Oh, the pain. Man, you're going from like extreme heat to extreme cold and crazy time. You sure are brave. I respect that. Where's Frosty when I need him? Later.
You need a bear?
I don't, yeah, Frosty Bear. The Alaska man.
Oh,
I
man.
miss Frosty.
Let's get back.
He does play Star Citizen too.
Have
So
you added him then?
he's in the Star Citizen group, so I'm sure he's subscribed to the channel. I mean, that's where we met him the first time. So.
No, like, are you on Discord?
I don't know if he's in the Discord. I've seen him on Social Galactic.
Okay.
He's on the Star Citizen group in Social Galactic.
Oh, that group. Okay.
If you don't know what that is, that's you should look it up. It's Social Galactic. I gotta remind myself I'm on YouTube. Not everyone knows these things. It's basically, Vox Day, the Supreme Dark Lord himself, who has made all of the liberals terrified and all the conservatives crap their pants for decades now, got tired of Twitter and all that and made his own social media thing. It's very nice, very fun, tight community. Highly recommend it. Yeah. You also get access to all their video content. Good times. I think you only have to pay like $10 a month to have access. It's great that you have to pay because it gets rid of a lot of the trolls that way and all the bots that just spam. Oh, hey, look, a cat. Anyway, so getting back to the point. I've noticed over the last few years that as YouTube has gone, or YouTube, as Star Citizen got more popular, I've been noticing they've been kind of backing off a lot of the hardcore elements. And what do you think about that? Yeah? Yeah, it's very
It's
important.
like, wow, you're bald.
Thank you. Dog, leave the cat alone for 5 minutes, you freak. And not all of it has been bad. I think a lot of the shooting element, they also been doing a good job of coming up with funny Skyhawk, your meows. Funny enough, the crew that I occasionally play with in Foxhole have a bad habit of annoying their allies by meowing and they're meowing at them until they get run over by a tank. I got ran over by a tank today. It was actually pretty entertaining.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was I even said thank you before they ran me over. It was pretty funny.
To get you out of your
No,
house.
I was trying to run behind the tank and I might have had a child in my arms and I misjudged the distance because I knew they were going to try to run me over because they were an enemy tank. But I also knew how far back I needed to be to avoid them and shoot the very delicate construction vehicle on the other side of them that they were trying to defend. Their tank didn't have a turret, so they only had a limited firing arc. But I might have not been able to go far enough behind the tank because a child's head was on my hand. So I went, thank you, like I was going to get away, and then they ran me over and all laughed. The best thing about Foxhole is as you die, you can hear what everybody says. So when I said, thank you, run over, and they went, yeah, you're welcome, and all laughed. All like 4 or 5 of them. It was embarrassing and yet hilarious.
Wasn't this the other day that
I woke
there
you
was
up at
a
2 in the
train?
morning chasing tanks. Yes.
That's true, you did wake me
I
up,
was-
and I had to come out here and give you the.
She gave me the eye. I've had that maybe 3 times since I've married her.
You got the sloppy look, but I'm displeased.
Oh, it was even better. You came out all frazzled, looked at me over my screen and went, it is 2 a.m. And then you just left. No other words. And I'm like, oh, I better get off. No, Donna, my headphones. The eye, yes. Oh, man. And if you're wondering how I play these games when I have 4 children, the answer is I wait till the kids go to bed, and then I waste all my... I go and die. Like, look at my eyes. They're dying right now in pain. Playing for too long and taking away too much of my sleep. But I don't do it every day.
Well, you know what helps? You have a different schedule now at work, so
That
you got more
should-
time.
That should help. Do I have to wake up earlier?
Yeah, but you get 3-day weekends.
I might fall asleep in my office, but I wake up
You get
earlier.
3-day weekends.
That's true. 3-day weekends. So nice.
Got a whole
Man.
week off.
I have such disrespect for my sister who used to complain about how much work she had as a teacher. And then I became a principal and I realized she is lying out her ass. Woo, she don't know what real work is, man. Though, to be fair, it is actually pretty draining working with kids all day, because especially in the modern environment where you're walking on your tippy toes sometimes. But
Fine.
I gotta get back to the original point. We're an hour in. I
We're
gotta
an hour and in.
chug. So
Take it.
I liked how Star Citizen, the CIG guys, have been coming up with sci-fi reasons for why some of the more generic, general stuff is in the game. So, for example, they added the Call of Duty style ching, 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 ching when you hit something, right? And the little flashy holographic stuff everywhere. And, it does make it for a more fun, twitchy experience, but it is definitely a lot less hardcore. Like, I remember the day, sir, I remember the day when you didn't know someone was dead till they fell. And they might come back up because it was just like a blast from a shotgun that knocked them over and their armor absorbed the pellets, right? I remember that day. Ooh, it was a wild time. They used to want to have like Arma Light in space was kind of their goal. It was much more hardcore. It was much more like you shoot and you die. Now, to be fair, because of the lag differences, it does make sense, and the fact that you have sci-fi armor to increase the time to kill. I'm all right with that. Like I begrudgingly gave in. Okay. You know, the holographic display, it is only there if you wear your helmet. If you don't wear your helmet, there's no holographic display, which makes sense. The idea being thousands of years in the future, they went, you know that Call of Duty stuff you liked? We have it in real life, son. You can kill everyone with all the lights going off. Flash, 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 flash. I can respect that. I allow it. It did kind of make the experience a little more fun. The problem is, if they go too far down this path, like funny thing is, I haven't even gotten to the main point yet.
What is the main point?
You see? So, they have implemented a new system an hour in, and I'm finally getting to what is in the title. Holy
I don't
crap.
even know what's in the title.
What
What is the title?
Wife just joins in to make fun of my balding head.
No.
But
Meow.
period.
Meow period.
Oh God, no. I literally just watched a meme where they put a no, I shouldn't do a period joke here. Anyway, so time period.
That's
Bad
a miserable
segue.
time. It's a whole week.
It was the best of times. It was the worst. Anyway, literature references aside, ironically, that book usually is read too. I'm gonna die. Oh, I wasn't laughing at that. I was just dying because apparently I can't drink anything. Good thing this isn't alcohol.
Where is it?
I think I would know. It's not that good. Dr. Pepper's not good.
I want to try that fucking
The dirty Dr. Pepper? Ooh.
Yeah, the dirty Dr.
That doesn't sound like fun. Oh my God, I gotta keep moving here. So,
Your beer got out of the way?
oh yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, aliens. But, which, by the way, apparently the first Banu alien is going to be in as a hologram that can give you missions. They're lucky they did that because I would have totally murdered him because Banu are slavers. Space Jew slavers. And since I married a Slav, that means I have to kill all of them. Somehow I don't think they're going to let me do that. They're going to come up with some lame excuse for why I can't kill all the space Jews. Though if they make
black enough,
they go full DEI and they make Space Hitler, I'm aligned with Space Hitler even if they don't officially let me. Just because it's hilarious. Not saying he was right about everything. I'm just saying it would be hilarious to be part of Space Hitler. Let's face it, CIG doesn't even let us join Xenothread, so I don't think they're going to let us join Space Hitler, whoever that turns out to be. Anyway. Xenothread did nothing wrong. Exactly. Take down those corporate bastards.
That sounds like a bumper sticker for your ship.
Woo! Oh, I wish. They do. They are threatening to let you do things like print. Yeah. Thank you, Skydog. Print things on the side of your ship.
So,
ooh.
Print that.
Skydog. We should, in the org, we should make an org ship, some party boat or something. And when we name it, right? Because they still let you name those.
Oh, I am so sorry.
Woman.
I'm sorry.
It's a good thing her face changes in a few years. Anyway, so we should name it Xenothread Did Nothing Wrong.
Are you tired yet?
I am. No, actually, I'm not. Anyway, so bring it on back. I got a like for that. You guys
for
making
calling
me
me a woman, or something else.
I assumed it was the Xenothread Did Nothing Wrong.
That's it.
And naming our ship that. So that, I mean, if you think about it, it's the best because
woman, Xenothread did nothing wrong.
Yeah, but it's the best because they can't get rid of it for clean speech because it's like in lore and just funny, right? They can't. If you said something like Hitler did nothing wrong or something stupid like that, they would be able to say, "Ooh, anti-Semitism erased." But because you said Xenothreat did nothing wrong, they're forced to keep it, even though Xenothreat's like their Trumpism,
threat.
their red-hatted Trump boogeyman. Oh, next thing you know, they'll have them say human first or something stupid like that. Humanity first. But the latest revelation that started this long tirade is that they're adding a new mechanic, a tier 0 implementation, which means this isn't the final form. They have more forms, and we're going to get into why in the end I'm okay with it, but I think they should have tweaked tier 0 a little better. And that's stopping full looting. So what's going to happen is I've actually played a game like that. What was it? It's now defunct, but it was basically a Halo, like a Halo-esque game set in a Halo-esque game that was kind of like a Tarkov extraction shooter in space. It was really fun.
Oh,
But
I remember you mentioned this when we looked it up.
Yeah, I played it for a while with.
Yay.
I shouldn't say his. Should I say his name? You know who I played it with.
Yeah.
Anyway, that game ironically went through the same thing where they ruined a lot of the elements that made the game unique. Ironically, going the other way, which was. In that game, you couldn't lose your armor, but you could lose your guns and all your loot. But the armor was like upgraded and was part of it. And they like changed everything around and they basically ruined what made the game unique. And they eventually had to shut down the servers because not enough people were playing because they allowed too many people to push them, that they tried to be too much like other games and not their own thing. You do need to take elements from other games to make people comfortable in your game, but you gotta know when to say no. We're going to keep these elements that make our game unique and different. Because if you copy someone too much, you're generally not going to be better than the thing you're copying. Just the thing. Usually the OG is better, generally. Yeah. So, but in this case, right, they're making it so whatever you've equipped, including a gun in your hand, will not be lootable and will be recoverable if you've registered them before you died. I do not like that at all. And again, this is coming from, as Mr. Lieutenant Dan 67-1. You should have done 69. It would have been funny. Said, like, I'm a man with children. This sort of systems helps me the most because I have the least amount of time to play and get stuff going. Right? You would think that I'd be on the other side of things, but no, I don't like that. Now, I do like, if you're in that boat with me and you don't like things getting this far away from being hardcore, right? You think, hey, you brought that armor in, you risked it, you should lose it if you fail, right? And it's more than that too. Like, it affects economy, like why you make more armors, why you make less. Like, I, for example, would loot the crap out of bunker missions just so I have multiple sets of armor to use. Right? If I was going into a suicide run, I'd only bring light armor because it's really cheap, really easy, and I don't need that many rounds because I'm probably just going to die anyway. I'm doing something crazy, something stupid. I'd even go in naked sometimes and steal somebody else's armor. It was actually a lot of fun during... what was the one on Orson? What was the name? That big thing. I'd go, everyone's in the full armor and everything. And I'd go in naked and wait for one of them to die and take their armor. It was very entertaining. Usually I took NPC armor, but there was one time I didn't realize I took a player's armor and he came back and shot me in the head. If you were here, I really thought you were an NPC. I promise you. It was not. It was accidental theft. It's still theft, yes, but it was not intentional. And this bothers me a a lot if it were to go down this direction, because that's like taking it too far, in my opinion. Like all the little other elements and whatnot. And when you watch the guys who are really in favor of this, their excuse is, oh, it's cutting back down on the time sink. And what makes this game unique, I'm afraid, is the time sink. I know that that's not necessarily a popular opinion, but dudes, go watch someone's YouTube video. There's a dime a dozen of them. First time in Star Citizen, and see what excites them the most. It's the visuals, and then it's and then it's the spaceships, and then it's the how everything can and should be. Like they can grab stuff, they can throw stuff, they can have a PvP encounter randomly. It might be a player, might be an NPC. It's the fact that they have to ride a train to get to their spaceship. They're entertained by it.
The train works.
Yeah, the train works, right? That tedium, that realistic tedium, is what brings people in. It's what makes Star Citizen unique. It's not the only thing, okay? But that hardcore element is what makes Star Citizen stand out from games like No Man's Sky, from games like Elite Dangerous. It stands apart because of that extra FPS hardcore element to it, where, you can starve to death. You can break a bone and have to limp everywhere. Right? You get shot in the chest. Suddenly you can't sprint as much because, your chest is injured. You get hit in the head, and if you don't have the right drugs, like those drugs, man, you're not going to be walking very far. You can get drunk. Right? It's just this stuff. It's fascinating. Now, it's always been kind of like this balance between the uber realism and then the rule of cool in Star Citizen. They've always kind of flown back and forth. Now, it seems to me there seems to be a changing of the guard. Like, there's been a lot of new people taking over stuff in CIG, and a lot of them seem very capable, and I don't mind all of it. But I feel like a lot of them are pushing more and more towards... Oh, God, that was horrible. Oh, if you don't know, a very large-chested, not attractively large-chested, by the way, just kind of fat, woman did not wear a bra at one of the the events.
That was the one that was in LA.
And that was very distracting and disgusting. Yeah. Who? Wait, is it because she was around?
She's not there anymore?
Yeah. No, or at least not
I'm
put
not
on
on
screen.
the stage anymore? Yeah.
How did I get to that point? Like, this is a hundreds of millions of dollar company, right? Hundreds of millions.
She could clearly afford one.
No, how did nobody tell her that they could see her nipples and maybe she shouldn't go on stage till she put something on? Were they just all a little too scared to tell her? Were they just... I mean, there are a lot of like antisocial, awkward men in the crew because they're, focused on making video games, not talking to women. Well, I don't know, some of them seem married, but you get the point, right? Moving on.
Sorry.
And so there is a fine line here that you keep enough of these cool elements, and you add more of them. Like there is also an extra problem here. If you go... One of the things about losing your gear when you die, and keep in mind, right, this is more painful for me. I don't have any subscriber flare or anything, just the free stuff they throw at me at Christmas.
Must be not.
I make sure you get it too.
Yeah.
Is that death is painful, and death needs to be painful in this game. All right, so much of the game design around it revolves around death being very painful, and right now it's not painful. Like, even before they add this new element that makes it less painful, death is not painful enough in Star Citizen. There's not enough risk. People look like, I know this, there's too much risk. People aren't willing to risk anything. I see people willing to risk things all the time, running naked guns, whatever. They just don't bring the really valuable guns that they don't want to lose. I'm arguing here, right? But you have things like pad ramming. You have things like just people running up and blowing up ships for no good reason. And because they're not scared of the consequences of dying. Because if you just take off all the loot you don't want to lose, suddenly death isn't painful anymore. It only takes time away. You only go to prison for a little bit. And even in that situation,
Time is in the essence.
if you go to prison, and you were killed by an NPC, you get to keep your armor. Like when you get out of prison, you wake up with the same armor you had on.
Right, take the armor away.
Yeah.
And go to prison in real life, they have to put you in orange.
To be fair, they do give your stuff back in real life after you
True.
get out of prison. So that's what they're simulating there. So how a lot of their game design to avoid a lot of this stuff has always been death of a spaceman. You ever wonder why they've made it where you could, permadeath is because they want to make it so you will have a reason to surrender to a bounty hunter. Right now, there's no reason. Why would you surrender to a bounty hunter unless you just want to, it's the end of your play session and you want your game to end real quick? And even then, why not make them fight for it, right? Why just give it to him? It's more fun to fight him. And then let an NPC kill you later.
Can you move the blanket?
Oh, yeah.
No, off my leg. Take it off my leg.
Right? That shows me, right, a lot of these game designs, the prison, the death mechanics, right, they're all designed to make people not want to die. So they act a little bit more like you'd expect people to act in that situation. Not so much murder hobo, because the consequences of dying is actually pretty serious, right? You're always going to have some murder hobos, but that's what the crux of the game design is. That's what a lot of their plans in the future have been for how to stop a lot of the negative behaviors like pad ramming and whatnot. If dying causes you immense problems, like if you die too many times, you don't revive, and you lose a portion of your money to the taxes and stuff as your next heir, your next character takes on all your wealth, and you lose a bunch of gear and all that, right? You're going to be a lot less willing to just pad ram someone unless it's like an alt account that you don't care about, right? And even then, right, the old account's going to run out of gear eventually if you keep that kind of crap up. And you had to spend more money on another account. Like, from a developer standpoint, that's not so bad. Like, oh, you're going to spend even more money on this game that we made so you could screw around. Like, that's not so bad. Okay. Double the money, double the fun. I mean, at least from a business perspective, that's almost genius. Accidental, though it is, and probably a little problematic from the gameplay perspective, but you get the point. So it's very important that enough of this realism stays to A, make those game design elements actually function, B, keep Star Citizen unique enough that people are willing to put up with all of the bugs that are going to be there. You're never going to get rid of all the bugs, okay? Maybe even some game-breaking bugs are going to stay. It's just life. The game is too big already, and we're only 2 star systems in. They want 5 for the major release, and 100 are in the lore already. Meaning, imagine you get to the point with the current system, and there are 100 star systems. Just the amount of potential for bugs is staggering in that big of a game. Drop Dead, it's wild how many bugs could be in that game, right? So you really need a core gameplay that is, you can't get it anywhere else. Sandbox combined, like it's the sandbox combined with the hardcore elements that allow for that. Now, something it adds, a lot of people don't understand, is the hardcore elements add gameplay. For example, right, if death is painful enough, maybe you will sit there and wait for that medic to come in and to heal your body. Like, they completely, in my opinion, destroyed any reason for why you would call the medic guy, right? You would risk a medic coming in to heal you, right? Why would you bother? All your gear stays with you. You're far more likely to get back there to kill the guy who's trying to loot your body with the gear now than you are waiting on a medic to come and revive you. Like, that's assuming you have any loot at that point. If they killed you before you even have any loot, why bother waiting at all? They've completely destroyed that mechanic. There's no point of having combat medics anymore. Why would you call for someone to revive you? Death. If I may quote a certain Bible verse, death, oh, where is your sting? And when death doesn't have any sting, you turn into Call of Duty, where you just blast yourself 10,000 times so you can go fight noobs for a little while. If you don't know what that is, because of how Call of Duty works, if you play too well, you get put into the sweaty lobbies. So if you kill yourself a bunch, you'll go back to fighting noobs and you can feel like a god again, even though you're not that good. I've seen them. It's crazy. They just blow themselves up over and over and over again. It's pretty crazy. Also really annoying if they're on your team. Because there's just a guy wasting a spot on your roster, just blowing himself up constantly in the corner. It's really annoying. Anyway, so that's just one example of one gameplay element they've already destroyed with this Tier 0 implementation. So why am I not steaming mad like other people are right now? I'm not, because I have looked at the Tier 1 and Tier 2 implications. And I'm here to tell you guys, if you're like me and you want the hardcore elements and you already see the problems they're going to create for themselves, taking away the time sinks and making death too easy with the future game mechanics in mind, you can rest easy. They have thought about it. If you look at the Tier 1, Tier 2 stuff, it seems to me the way they're talking to, the main motivation behind this is to put a stop to duping. That seems to be the main thing. Like, I don't think they really care that much if the Care Bear loses his loot. Because that makes them have to play more to get their loot back, right? They care a little bit about flares and people being able to get their flare items, but they've never cared that much. It's the duping they're trying to stop, and possibly people getting a hold of flare items. Like, oh, why would I pay money to be part of the concierge and all that when I can just kill one of them when they're outside their bunker one time and take their special loot, right? It strikes me they also want to curb that, right? So now, even if you find someone wearing their flare gear and you kill them, you can't steal it. It's a little greedy, but the duping thing I understand too. So rather than come up with something, I feel like this is a little lazy at the same time. Their Tier 1, their Tier 2 implementations, we'll get into it, are great. Love it. It's a great and very interesting direction that makes sense for the sci-fi elements. It's funny, when you listen to the guys who are all excited about the hardcore elements going away, they don't like Tier 1 and Tier 2 implementation. They just want everything to be easy. And they obviously have not been paying attention at all. It's really... I know most people are stupid. I know most people are idiots. But it really bothers me how hungry this cat is. How... the CIG devs can repeat themselves for years. They can repeat what they have in mind and what they plan on doing. They can do it for years and repeat themselves ad nauseum over and over, and people don't listen. Also, these people have this strange thing, like when that one guy just responded with, "Lol, no one plays Star Citizen in its current state." It's not the gameplay that drives people away. It's the bugs and the instability. The gameplay and the visuals is what bring people in, and they put up with the bugs. Like me, right now. I haven't played Star Citizen for a while because I physically cannot. It's not that I don't enjoy the gameplay. In fact, I get the itch all the time, and I get jealous that I can't play because there's some weird bug, not with the game itself, but with the damn installer, and I have uninstalled it. I've gone in like the back files, every instance of Star Citizen's existence and deleted it all. Reinstalled everything, and it still doesn't work. I'm gonna go try again. Not tonight. Maybe tonight.
No, not
before I go to bed.
You'll be too grouchy.
No. Like I'll start the download and then go to sleep.
Oh, the download.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the plan. Okay. That's the plan. I'll play something silly if I play something before bed. Oh yes, I will. I had caffeine and I talked for an hour. I'm gonna have some fun. 2 hours probably.
Yeah.
Oh, those are good. I already had that.
I had caffeine. I'm having my sugar. You already have.
Yeah, but you're also skinny. Like it's gonna go out of you like a bird. I'm fat. No, actually, because if I was skinny like you wouldn't have been attracted to me. She doesn't like really skinny dudes. She wants bulky. Not fat. Muscle. I was muscled more when she married me. I need to work on that. Luckily, enough of it stayed, though. I can still throw her around like a rag doll.
Two skinny people. I feel like I break their backs.
And she's skinny. Wife, I just realized that could have been taken the
Way
very
out.
bad way.
Yep.
Well, I gotta probably finish this up. So, the chocolate, the chocolate, the chocolate. So,
I'm not eating things. You are.
this has been a crazy stream, but I've enjoyed it. So, what these people who are pushing for the game to be more generic don't seem to understand is if they have their way and all the time sinks go away, you just teleport right to the action, then you only have a buggy Call of Duty mess without all without all the things that bring you into the world and the gameplay elements that come for it. For example, piracy is only possible because physicalized inventory, right? This child is so grouchy. Holy crap. Right? People like complain that, oh, loading it's so time consuming. Yeah, but it's gameplay in and of itself. Then you can also pay the credits to have it get auto loaded, and it's going to play even more into it, where the big ships only travel to the big ports, and the smaller ships take things, specific items, right, to the smaller areas and the smaller facilities and whatnot. Just like in real life, you don't send a massive semi out to the one little general store and the tiny little island in the middle of nowhere. You send maybe a sprinter van or a slightly bigger or like a Class B style truck that doesn't have a full tractor trailer to it, right? You don't send an entire massive freighter ship to freaking Boise, Idaho. First of all, it can't get there because there's not enough water. But you get the point. That's overkill. There's not enough demand. Diaper too? Wow.
I already changed her once.
She's crazy.
Did you hurt yourself?
Oh, sorry for being distracted. But, right? That's the long-term goal. It's like these elements allow for gameplay. For example, if they can get the economy to a decent state, you, the players, can choose to blockade a spaceport and make the prices really expensive there. Right? Because if they get the demand right, the items, if you can get that realistic, that the items have to be taken to the place to be sold, that means you can drive up the prices by blockading the port. You can affect things there. You can deprive them of missiles and ammo, right? Foxhole does this great because everything has to be taken to the front. It's a big time-consuming thing. It's a lot of truck simulator going on. But it allows for gameplay, allows for piracy, allows for partisan, where you're trying to disrupt the enemy's ability to get new guns and supplies. You can do siege warfare, where you cut off a city and start starving it of all its supplies till the players there don't have guns to shoot at you with. Well, they always get pistols, but they don't have rifles to shoot at you. They don't have anti-tanks to stop your tank. You know, you get that point. I want that in Star Citizen. They hint that they want to do it with the economy, right? These things allow for things. With the trains being physicalized, that they don't have it now, and I have not heard any rumors of them doing this, but that allows them to do things in the future where, hey, you could do something like smuggle yourself into a city by jumping onto the train in between stations. It allows for it because the train's physicalized. If you're just teleporting, you can't do that, right? The code wouldn't allow it because you can't jump into another person's load screen. Right? It's little things like that that people don't think about that allow for things in the future. The more physicalized they make things, the more opportunity for unique gameplay aspects like that you won't have in any other game. And you already have that with the looting system and the loading system and the physicalized commodities that you can put in ships and all that. You already have elements of it, right? They're not all there, but they're getting there. The bullet drop, the bullet fall off, bullet damage fall off, all that stuff. It allows for a unique experience that you don't get anywhere else. And people generally are not smart enough to see the connection to that, to actually see what's making them have fun. But they are usually pretty easily tilted when something goes wrong. So it's a lot easy to point at, oh, this wasted my time. Oh, this glitch made me lose my armor, blah, 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 right? So the general public will push towards the generic every time. Even though they left Call of Duty or they left the mainstream generic shooter for the unique experiences that they can get in Star Citizen, they'll make it just like the game they left. Because just like the Mexicans leaving Mexico, there's something inside them. There's something subconscious that pushes them towards that direction. Oh, likewise, we can do this the other way if you find that racist. If you took all of the Californians and you put them in Mexico, they would try to make Mexico into California. And I'm talking old world California, if you know what I mean. I could change that up. If you take all the Mongols and you put them in, we did Idaho, they would slowly try to change Idaho into Mongolia, essentially. This is what they would do. It's what the majority of them want the culture around them to be like, whether they realize that or not, and they will just push towards what they like. Just pushing towards what they want. And they don't understand why they want those things. They don't understand why they like those things. They don't usually understand why pursuing those things will destroy the thing that they like right now. That's a pain. Now, all that said, you don't need to be afraid in this case because Tier 1 and Tier 2 really do fix the problem. And I understand that duping has been a big... So if you don't know what duping is, it's when you take advantage of a glitch or a system and duplicate an item. An armor set, guns, whatever it is. And you do that too much, and there's too many items on the server, and too many people doing it all the time, it can crash the server because there's just too many items that keep advantage of, and it can mess with the system having an exact cloned copy of that item. To cut down on that, they're just no more picking weapons up off, picking things off equipped items. You can loot their inventories. You cannot loot the armor themselves or the guns, which seems like a digression. I remember the days, you whippersnapper, I remember the days in Star Citizen where you couldn't loot anything at all because the bodies were virtually inaccurate. You couldn't really mess with the bodies. You could only pick up guns, and you had to go through this ridiculous process to get the guns in your global inventory. I remember those days. They were not very fun in comparison to the looting system we have now. And I don't like that we're regressing towards that again because Care Bears can't handle it. But no, again, I suspect this is because of the duping. Less to do with people keeping their armor, more to do with getting their servers more stable. And that has been what they've told us. What they want to concentrate on is stability, or stability, as DG360 likes to say it. I like it. And so, to do this, one major thing they did is basically stopping the copying of armor because, they wanted to allow people to keep some of their stuff. But obviously, the first thing somebody's going to do is go, oh, okay, I'm going to go kill myself over here or drop my armor over here and then reclaim it and then have two sets. And then I've duped it and then bam, 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 suddenly they have hundreds of the same set. This becomes a problem for the subscriber flare because then they can just print out subscriber flare and then either sell it or give it to all their friends, right? And still have their own set. C'est la vie. Now, Tier 1 and Tier 2, though, if you read the future developments, like what they want to turn it into, these are, in my opinion, fix the problem quite well. The long-term goal is to make it so that the concept is, in the sci-fi universe, there is a shut-off switch or something implanted into the genetic codes, not the right word, but the molecular makeup of the items. And if the items are reported stolen, they break instantly. Bricked, as they're called. I'm hoping they apply this to armor as well, so we can go back It's kind of in the air. They don't say one way or another, but I'm hoping that it turns into full looting again, but the armor, its integrity gets destroyed or something. You know, maybe it cuts off your dick if you try to wear it. That'd be a bad joke. But you trying to say something? It is a great joke. So, that system makes sense in the lore. Thousands of years in the future, why shouldn't they be able to put something in a molecular stamp that can destroy an item if it's reported stolen? It makes total sense to me. It also keeps the immersion, so you can loot the item, but it's just going to break whenever the person reports it's stolen. And then they're going to create elements where if you have the equipment or the connections with gangs or people who have the equipment, you can either sell the item, the broken item, for a lot less, obviously, break down the item for craftable materials, or recover the item using special equipment or connections with gangs who have the equipment so that you can keep the item. Thereby stopping the duping, because you have this long process of actually changing it and putting it back in, recoverable and usable. I imagine it's going to take a while. I imagine also it's going to create roles. Say in your org, it's a very expensive thing to do. Maybe it's a really hard thing to maintain. Maybe only one guy in your org or a couple guys in your org will have the crafting know-how to recover a bricked item. I like this system. It creates new gameplay, interesting systems, and it doesn't break the immersion because there's not a body on the ground that you can't loot. It's just it's going to break if you take it. So you better have an idea what you're going to do with it if you take it. Moreover, the Care Bears are happy enough as long as they've registered their items, they can, for money, get their items back. It may take time to be delivered, but they can get their items back. They're also going to do that with ship interiors and stuff. I like it. That tier 2 system makes a lot of sense for the lore, and oddly enough can make both parties happy while keeping things hardcore enough, right? Like, a lot of people don't understand. Like, I remember the one guy was saying, like, you're slowing down the combat too much, right? People aren't going to deploy if they can't bring all their loot right to the stupid ship where they're spawning. And I'm like, dude, they've already said that they're going to make respawning in spaceships tied to resources. You run out of biological material, you can't clone yourself anymore, you can't respawn in that bed, which is awesome, by the way. I love that. I wish they would just implement a tier 0 of that right now. It would fix so many problems. Like, you've seen the videos or the pictures of like the mountains of bodies in the revive room. Like, holy crap, dude. Just why couldn't we get a tier 0 of that? Just saying there's a limit to how many respawns you can do. I mean, all they had to do a tier 0 for that is make another resource bar. So like when you're in a ship and you're refueling, you're getting more fuel and you're fixing your ship, you're getting all that, to have another bar that says biological material. And that goes down with each revive. And then you can pay to refill it. Beautiful. Great. Would have worked well. Awesome. Why not? Why not do that? And then a tier after that could be allowing specialized ships to refill that biological material, and then have the illegal version of that where you can literally recycle bodies, recycle people into biological material, and then refill that stuff. See? That's a really interesting gameplay right there. And the both legal and non-legal version of it, the morality of recycling a body, but it doesn't have the soul in it anymore, or are these clones all new people each time, and it's just genetic memory. Yeah, fun. You have lore elements, you have gameplay elements that can come out of that, and it fixes a lot of the problems that we have right now, where people will just spawn and in their underwear try to run and grab their stuff constantly. And it adds another level of planning. Like, a lot of people don't understand. Like Armor Reforger, Hell Let Loose, is that the name? It's a World War II game, and other games like it, right? Usually a low time to kill lends itself to low skill gameplay, right? You might not be that good at shooting, but you only needed to get a couple shots on target anyway, so what does it matter? It also generally makes it so that guns have less variety or less necessary variety to be viable because the one shot dead, right? But games like Hell Let Loose, for example, include making the range really far and the planning and how far you have to walk to spawn and where you can set spawns and all that creates it shifts the skill. So the skill isn't so much can you shoot straight or be really twitchy fast shooter like in certain Call of Duties or even in Halo where it's all about how to get enough bullets on target. The skill is the planning, where you set up your spawn, where you set up your ambush. Are you using your machine gun right, where it's not necessarily just to kill people, but to keep their heads down and all this other stuff, right? Suppression, that kind of system. I love suppression systems. They're done right. I know everyone hated them in Battlefield 3, but that's because you had all your assault rifle bros. Remember those guys we talked about who want the one god game, the one god gun that allows them to kill everyone and is the meta, right? They hated the suppression system in Battlefield 3 because it was the counter to their gun and running crazy stupid crap. It allowed me as a light machine gunner to hunker down and make it so they can't shoot straight, forcing them to change their tactics. And it was great. And from a balancing perspective, it allowed them to give the LMG a purpose for existing while not making it too realistic where it just killed you and cut you in half in a couple shots. Like saws in real life, man. Those support weapons are scary. They're pretty nutty. But not getting too distracted by other games. Oh, I don't think I'm gonna get to my game dev talk. Oh no. Oh well, there's other Friday. Well, we'll be doing it on Fridays. Stuff. I'm getting a little tired. But what can we say? We can't all be Owen Benjamin doing 3-4 hour streams. Oh man. But yeah, I think that tier 2 is going to work out great. The big issue is tier 0 really was not well thought out, in my opinion. They needed to let that cook in the oven just a little bit longer. I know they wanted to stop the duping, and to do that, right, cut it off so no bodies can be looted completely is a quick way to do it. But it destroys other game mechanics. And right, dogs, right there in that moment. Like again, no one's going to call anyone to revive them in a bunker anymore because they're going to have all their gear, and it's going to be faster for them to just respawn and then come back for their loot. Especially if they brought a medical ship. Like at least before this, if you brought a medical ship, you also had to bring extra armor or go in naked to get your armor, right? You had to do extra planning to take advantage of it. Not anymore. Now you'll wake up in that ship fully kitted out and ready to go. Maybe you might have to bring ammo. That's it. Lame. Stupid.
No, you're not getting the kid.
Stupid. Not well thought out. And though tier 1 and tier 2, I think, have been really well thought out and are going to be great additions to the game, the problem is, this is Star Citizen, baby. Tier 1, let alone tier 2, might be 2 years down the road for all I know.
You can't get the cat.
And then, worse, they're going to get every new player. All the general mass people we're talking about who are going to push for things because it's easier and they want their god guns and all the rest, and they don't understand why they like Star Citizen, right? All the ones that are going to come after this are going to expect to always have their gear when they respawn. And they're going to be mad when tier 1 and tier 2 are implemented, creating a whole new thing of drama, whole new pain in my ass to deal with as people whine and complain as things get harder, more hardcore. I still remember when we had to start eating and drinking. Yeah, I played Star Citizen before eating and drinking was a thing. Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about that I started playing Star Citizen before there was looting, before there was eating and drinking. I know some people have been playing it before there was even...
Bed sheets.
Bed sheets. The best bed sheets. Oh, inside jokes are the best. Right. So,
There you go, Rosie.
been all over the place.
Yes.
I hope tier 1, tier 2 are actually not too far out. But I imagine they have a lot of coding to do, a lot of complex systems to do it that track each piece of armor. Oh, yeah. Oh,
He's
well,
the
hey.
org reader. Remember?
I like you, Skydog. I was about to end in 10 minutes anyway, so catch you later, Skydog. You got the gist of everything I was going to say. I'll
So
save
Rosie.
I'll save the game dev talk I had in mind for next game stream. It was fun. Oh, I'm tired. Okay, but yeah, always a pleasure, Skydog. See you next time. We'll be on Friday for sure, assuming my kids aren't sick or something.
What are you doing?
All right. Yeah. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? I feel like I need to go out on a better oomph than that. Basically,
What is she doing?
I don't know.
Are you having trouble?
That was a long-winded, crazy discussion about how, and from a game dev perspective, the balance of listening to feedback, but understanding that a lot of your feedback is going to be crap. I'm going to be coming from a perspective of people who don't understand why they like your game, right? And filtering out, say, the bugs, like, the bugs or the things that are actually stupid. Like, hey, the maze is a little too dark or something. Like, why are you putting a crappy maze here or something? Blah, blah, blah. You when you're making your games, when you're writing your books, when you're making whatever product it is, it's important that as it becomes more popular, you understand what makes it more unique. So when you're adding elements and you're changing things, that you don't get to the point where you're exactly like your competition and nothing about you is more unique other than the brand you've created, like the pretty pictures, right? It's important because especially if you're copying elements from something that, like, I don't know about you, but I've not really bought any of those Lay's Pringle can copies because I personally find them to be too thick. The Lay's chips are too thick inside those cans because the OG does it better. Lay's,
You pack more.
yeah, Lay's, in my opinion, should just stick to their bags. They do it better.
And not put too much air in the bags.
Then again, someone could give Pringles a run for their money, but
Gross.
Hey, okay, I really gotta get off here. But
You just got scratched.
whether you're dealing, she's shocked. The dog's just sitting there like, what the heck?
Swipe.
She's like,
It's
what is
pretty-
he doing
it's
to
pretty
me?
good swipe, actually.
Yeah. Did you finally torture the cat too much that he fought back? Yeah, you don't know how to handle that, huh?
Well,
Anyway,
don't go crying to me.
so in whatever it is you do in life, when you get a winner, when you get something that's good enough that it becomes popular, remember, those new people often don't understand what made it popular in the first place, don't understand how to keep it popular, and will be the first people to leave if they get their way. Like, understand, I'm going to do it because it's fun. All those Mexicans coming over the border right now are going to be the first people to leave when those areas become like Mexico. Those first ones who came. You know why? Because they left Mexico for a reason. And yes, they will actively push for the places they go to become Mexican. Oddly enough, when I was in Florida, we had this problem with people from like Minnesota and Michigan and stuff. They're like selling out and not fighting for their land at all, just giving it up and going, "Oh, it's horrible now," and then doing the exact same things.
The northern mindset.
Yeah, doing the exact same things in Florida.
We like the slow lifestyle, blah blah blah. As we try and make every business fast paced.
Doing everything in their power to make things in the South like they are in the North. Remember, the things they did were what led to the northern states, those Michigans and all those states,
Rose,
collapsing
I don't want the cat.
faster than the southern states. Right? We had that problem in Florida before we left. because all the people in Michigan and whatnot, they're running right now. They're running from all that crap in their cities. They're
You put
running
that tail
south. The places like Florida.
They want the Cajun.
To Florida. And the first thing they're doing is changing the culture there into exactly what's going to cause the problem there that happened in Michigan and Minnesota and everywhere else. That everywhere up north where it's happening. Scary, but it's stable at least. So, what? The dog. So, in whatever it is you do, when it becomes popular, be ready for all those people who, and they're not bad people generally. They just don't think introspectively. They don't have that ability to actually look at themselves and understand why they want what they want. You think of the dozen gammas or a ton of women out there who just don't understand why they do the things that they do. I don't want to look at it.
They don't even know what we want to eat.
They can't look in the mirror and look at what they actually are because it's too painful, right? And that's big time stuff. It'll happen with small stuff around them too. Little things like preferences. People will come to a franchise because it's becoming popular, but not understand why it's popular and will do everything in their power to make it like the thing they just left. And then because that thing is generic, because they've seen it a lot, and they are following the next popular thing, right? When the thing they're in becomes less popular, they're just going to jump to the next shiny thing. So as a developer, as someone writing books or making products or whatever it is, you need to find that core audience that's going to stick with you, who like what your product is, who like what it is you're doing, and understand it enough to stick with you. In the end, they will keep your companies alive a lot longer than the crowd that's just running around following what's popular. All right? In the short run, you'll make a bunch of money and then you'll die off. But if like games like Foxhole, like Star Citizen has, up until this point at least, stuck to their core guys who started them out and like this hardcore thing, you can last decades and make more money in the long run. Or at least enjoy yourself and have a longer run. If it's all about money, well, I mean, you might make more money becoming more popular and selling out. You want to check in on him? I'm going to close up shop here.
Yeah, I was just saying.
All right. I'm repeating myself. So it was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed my long, crazy, wild, distraction, tangent rant. Oh, that probably should have been written down instead of spoken because my voice is tired now. But it's fun. So I hope you enjoyed it. Come back. I can't say that we'll always be that deep. Sometimes I just want to talk about what next superhero I want to see in Marvel Rivals, or what next this or that, or next spaceship, or what next crazy contraption I want to see in Foxhole, right? But sometimes I go pretty deep and crazy like this. And yeah, we do these gaming streams every Friday. Hopefully sometime around 9 o'clock our time, which is, if you're in Florida, 10 o'clock your time. It's kind of the goal. I'm figuring it out. But yeah, 9 o'clock-ish Arizona time is what we're shooting for, which is actually would be 11 o'clock in Florida. Never mind. I can't think. It's 2 hour difference. Don't worry. Shh. What are you whining about? So, thanks for coming in. See you guys in the next stream on Fridays. Saturdays, we're going to be getting back into doing our podcast. If you like creepy stuff, Dogman stories, that kind of thing, getting into the original Wendigo stories and what's real, what's not. And then I can't promise I'll do it this Sunday. It might have to be a Monday thing. But we have Sunday school lessons that we put up every Sunday for young men. And then we should stream about it Monday, but it might be later than that. When we get it back into our schedule, we'll put up a written Sunday school lesson on Sunday and then a stream on Monday going over it. I'm still getting back in the rhythm. We just moved. We moved a month ago, though. I don't know if I can still use that. But we'll be getting back into it. Thanks for showing up, guys. Thanks for joining the Grizzly stream. See you in all those other crazy things. And yeah, make cool video games and books. Grizzly out. Where's the button? Get me out of here.